Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. In the sweltering summer of 1878, on his 27th birthday, a young outlaw lay dying in Round Rock, Texas. His wounds were mortal, the price of a failed bank robbery that had erupted into a desperate shootout with Texas Rangers. As doctors worked to save him, they asked the young man to name his accomplices. His response would become legendary. "It's against my profession to blow on my partners." Those were among the last words of Sam Bass, and they cemented his place in Western folklore. But how did a skinny, stoop-shouldered teamster from Indiana become one of the most notorious train robbers in Texas history? Our story begins in Denton, Texas, where an 18-year-old Sam Bass found himself working as a teamster for Sheriff W.E. Dad Egan. Picture a young man, barely more than a boy really, standing 5'8" and weighing just 140 pounds. With his dark eyes, black hair, and distinctive nasal twang, Bass hardly cut the figure of a legendary outlaw. But sometimes the most unassuming figures cast the longest shadows. It was in Denton that Bass acquired the mare that would change his life, a magnificent horse named Jenny, better known as the Denton mare. Jenny wasn't just any horse. She was Bass's ticket into the world of horse racing, and ultimately his gateway into crime. With Jenny's speed and Bass's cunning, they became an unstoppable duo on the local racing circuit. But success has a way of breeding ambition, and ambition, well, that can lead a man down some dangerous paths. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest adventure. If you would like to help support my time and channel, hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. This is very helpful. Relax and enjoy. By 1876, Bass had grown restless with the relatively tame life of a horse racer. Following a disputed horse theft at Fort Sill, a matter that would forever remain clouded in controversy, he joined up with Joel Collins for a cattle drive to Deadwood, Dakota Territory. Deadwood in 1876 was a boom town drunk on gold fever. Bass and Collins tried their hands at legitimate business, a freight line, a saloon, even a mining investment. But the gold that flowed so freely through Deadwood streets had a way of staying in other men's pockets. It wasn't long before Bass and Collins started thinking about more direct methods of wealth redistribution. They assembled what would become Bass's first gang: Jack Davis, Jim Barry, Bill Heffridge, Tom Nixon, and a character known as Reddy McKeamy. This wasn't exactly the cream of the criminal crop. Their first attempts at stage robbery were almost comical. One heist netted them exactly $11. Another, which would be laughed about in saloons for years to come, earned them nothing but a dozen peaches. But like any craft, robbery takes practice, and Sam Bass was a quick study. Then came September 18, 1875, the Big Springs train robbery. This wasn't just another bumbling holdup. This was the job that would write Sam Bass into the history books. The gang stopped a Union Pacific train at Big Springs, Nebraska, and what they found aboard would change everything. Hidden in the express car were $60,000 in newly minted double eagles, gold coins fresh from the San Francisco Mint. The robbery itself went smoothly enough, but it's what happened afterward that turned this from a simple heist into a legend. Collins and Heffridge met their end in a shootout with cavalry at Buffalo Station. Jim Barry made it as far as Mexico, Missouri, before trying to exchange his share of the gold, a fatal mistake that ended with him mortally wounded by a posse. Davis and Bass, showing the kind of luck that would become Bass's trademark, managed to escape south by buckboard, their gold supposedly hidden in a pair of old pants. But it was in Texas where Sam Bass truly came into his own. He formed a new gang, and this time he chose his men more carefully. There was Henry Underwood, the calculating one, Frank "Blocky" Jackson, an orphan from a good family who would prove to be Bass's most loyal companion, Tom Spotswood, a known murderer who brought muscle to the operation, and Seaborn Barnes, nicknamed Nubbin's Colt, whose quick trigger finger would prove both useful and ultimately fatal. The law was never far behind. Union Pacific Detective Gaines, Sheriff Bill Everhart, and the relentless Ranger Lee Hall led the pursuit. They were joined by peace officers, Pinkertons, bounty hunters, and Chicago detectives, all drawn by the substantial rewards offered for the gang's capture. But Bass and his men proved elusive, even managing to escape unscathed from a fierce gunfight in Cove Hollow. This brings us to Round Rock, Texas, in the summer of 1878. The gang had been moving from Dallas through Waco, then Belton and Georgetown, finally arriving at this small town of about 1,000 souls. What they didn't know was that they had a traitor in their midst, Jim Murphy, who had been sending warning messages to the Rangers. Major Jones of the Rangers didn't waste any time. He alerted Lieutenant Reynolds, who assembled an 8-man team. More Rangers rode in from Austin, and local law enforcement was quietly warned. The trap was set. On that fateful day, Bass, Barnes, Murphy, and Jackson rode into Round Rock. They tethered their horses in an alley and, maintaining their cover, entered Koppel's store to buy tobacco. It was here that everything fell apart. Deputy Grimes, recognizing the men from descriptions, made the fateful decision to intervene. What followed was chaos. Deputy Grimes fell dead. Bass took bullets in his hand and torso. Barnes was killed outright. Deputy Moore was wounded but survived. The air filled with gun smoke and the sound of shooting as Rangers Dick Ware, Connor, and Harold joined the fray, alongside armed citizens who had grabbed their weapons at the first sound of gunfire. Though badly wounded, Bass managed to escape the immediate scene with Jackson's help, but his wounds were mortal, and he knew it. The next day, Rangers found him lying in a field north of town. Dr. Cochran was called, but there was nothing to be done. Sam Bass, the simple teamster who had become a legend, died on July 21, 1878, his 27th birthday. The aftermath of the Round Rock shootout would echo through Texas history. Deputy Grimes received a Masonic funeral, with the railroad contributing to support his widow. Bass himself was buried with a Methodist minister present, and legend has it that Frank Jackson, who had escaped, later visited his grave in disguise. But perhaps the most lasting legacy of Sam Bass isn't in the gold he stole or the lives he took. It's in the way his story captured the imagination of the American West. His tombstone bears an inscription that reads, "A brave man reposes in death here. Why was he not true?" A folk ballad about his life and death became a staple of Western music, telling the tale of the young outlaw who refused to betray his friends even at the end. Judge Hogg, looking back on Bass's career, would later remark that he was a cheerful sorts of robber who went about things in a businesslike way. The people of Denton County, who had known him before his turn to crime, remembered him with a mix of condemnation and grudging admiration, a common fate for many of the West's most notorious outlaws. Sam Bass's story is more than just another tale of crime and punishment in the Old West. It's a reminder of how thin the line could be between ordinary life and outlawry, between obscurity and legend. In just 27 years, he transformed himself from an unremarkable teamster into a figure of folklore, his name forever etched in the annals of Texas history. As for Jim Murphy, the man who betrayed Bass, his fate was perhaps fitting. He died under controversial circumstances, his name forever cursed in the folk ballad that preserved Bass's legend. It seems that even in death, Sam Bass had the last laugh. They say the measure of a person's life isn't in the years they live, but in the story they leave behind. By that measure, Sam Bass lived several lifetimes in his brief 27 years. His tale reminds us that the American West wasn't just about the famous names we all know, the Wyatt Earps and Billy the Kids. It was also about the small-time operators, the might-have-beens, the almost-weires who, through some quirk of fate or fortune, found their way into legend. Sam Bass may have died a second-rate outlaw, but he achieved something that even the most successful lawman or businessman couldn't buy: immortality in the stories, songs, and legends of the American West. And maybe, just maybe, that's what he was really after all along. Check out my large Southwest video catalog of historical tales, lost gold legends, and adult bedtime stories. Happy trails. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.